Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to invite a very special person. Dylan! There he is, guys. Hi, Dylan.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Well, I'm much better now seeing you. This is, speaking of, when you walked through that door on Friday night, I wasn't thinking who I might see or who I might not see. And seeing you there was like a vision. It was like, hey, I know this guy.
Yeah, I know.
You look super.
Thank you. You have a very celestial energy about you, and I could almost feel you from around the corner. So it was nice to see you on Friday for sure.
And ladies and gentlemen, so you're not out of the loop, as it were. A mutual friend and a very brilliant man in my estimation, but also a very talented man, Jordan Sook, who did a very large installation called Harvest, and it's harvesting your future. And let's talk about your future and harvesting, how you're harvesting. And you've been toiling hard in the fields there, my friend. And and you've been tearing up the waves. This is exciting, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only Dillanponders, who is fast becoming a very, very dear friend and certainly a very well-known performer in his own right. And, you know, Dylan, I said in the promos that come in here because we are alive, come in here the answer to that question. Yeah. And so if I were to, explain to people what is because we are alive.
Because we're alive started as a bit of a notion or an idea that ended up turning into a full body of work, which I ended up sharing with the world. But the concept surrounding because we're alive is honestly like very straightforward. I came up with this idea walking home from a buddy's house after a very nice mushroom trip. We were having some very nice conversations. It was very expansive. We feel like we transcended to a bit of a more positive realm in our lives. And I'm just walking home like every single thing that I'm doing, whether it's putting air into my lungs, calling my mom to say I love her, or writing bars into my phone, is all only possible because I'm alive. Like all of these things that I'm allowed to do in this tangible realm through my flesh vehicle are only things that I'm allowed to do because I'm here. Like I'm here right now breathing in real time. And that notion just kind of puts a bit of excitement behind everything we're doing because, you know, I'm very conscious of our perishability and I don't really have any negative connotations attached to it. I just want to make sure that while I'm here, I'm being here to the fullest. So that is my nutshell answer to that question.
Wow. and it's that whole living in the moment and being and living mindfully. So you alluded to what created this, maybe what spawned or spurned this seed of creativity was mushrooms. And how does that fit into your life in terms of your creativity? And if you don't mind, I'm going to light up.
Yeah, go for it. I'm about to roll up too.
Okay, well, listen, that's an art I haven't learned, so I'm buying pre-rolls.
Okay, hey, as long as we're getting stoned.
What's that?
As long as we're getting stoned, I'm happy. Okay. I'm good.
Hey, ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth?
Psilocybin has always been a really fascinating realm for me ever since I was a little too young to partake in the experimentation process. But as a creator, I'm typically creating. I just have like a glass of water and I'm smoking a spliff. But when it comes to trying to meet myself on a deeper level, on a level behind the ego and behind the exterior and exterior opinions that we all soak in, I always found that psilocybin, mushrooms specifically, always enabled me to interact with my true self, with the version of myself that I feel at my purest, which is basically like the child in me, you know, like the little kid that the world kind of tries to box in.
Absolutely.
I always let him into the room and kind of let him govern how it's supposed to go. And this perspective can obviously be found through meditation, through conversation, and through a lot of avenues, because psychedelic doesn't like necessarily represent a drug-induced mind state, but psilocybin helps one enter into that psychedelic state. And for me, it's had profound effects on my personal life, in my creative life, and on my creations in general. So, I mean, yeah, psilocybin is, quite frankly, it feels like an ancient best friend that has always known me, in a sense. So,
do you ever have a sense? Do you ever have a sense in that state? I often do the same. If I want to be creative, which is always.
Yes, yes.
I just qualify that, everyone. I find that I am less critical of myself and allow myself to go in places where I'm not monitoring what I'm feeling or thinking. It's just happening.
That's such a good way to put it. You're not even critical of yourself, because as artists and as people in this society, we are taught consciously and subconsciously to critique and overanalyze everything, especially when you want to share something with the world, you critique it. But and
also when you're striving for perfection, in quotations, it's
heavy quotations.
Heavy quotations, because that you're only as good as your last song, so to speak,
Yeah, exactly.
Or your last performance, or your last client, or your last breath, for that matter, if you want to get a little more macabre about it, but let's not go there.
But we can go there on a personal day.
Exactly. So where are you, and what are you doing now? How would you sort of encapsulate that, aside from rolling or doing whatever you're doing right now? In general, how do you glide through your life, my friend?
In present tense, yes, rolling a blunt. But in external realms and in my realm of existence, I'm obviously coming off a very life-changing and beautiful album campaign in Because We're Alive. My team and I worked very tirelessly in ensuring that this album was something that didn't really just feel like, hey, a Toronto rapper put a body of work out. We wanted it to be a moment in time, like a moment for people to remember and to resonate with and to kind of become best friends with. So now that that project is out and it's doing incredibly, thank the Lord, thank the universe, and thank you all the beautiful people who listen. I'm working on about 3 albums right now. All of them I hold very near and dear. We're trying to plan shows, but quite frankly, I'm not really going to be able to hit the road and interact with people on a personal level until 2022. And I'm working on a bunch of new projects that I can't necessarily talk about because the element of surprise is something I love.
Absolutely. And that's all part of isn't that all part of the mystique?
There's something about mystery. I feel like most of the people who listen to my music, I feel like they have a pretty good feel of who I am as a person. And I always love to share my creative process, but there always has to be a bit of a blockade. Like, I wonder what he's up to right now. And to further answer your question, I'm living with my soulmate, which is a beautiful part of this life. My creative endeavors and all of my personal endeavors have kind of synced me with my path that I'm supposed to be on. And I'm walking it with fucking glee right now. And yeah, I'm constantly creating.
When you walked into that room Friday night, and I just happened to catch you on your own, and then I met the person behind the personal joy, and this lady has made you very happy, and I can see that.
Thank you.
No, she's. I don't want to go there because I'll get. But wonderful experience seeing you so happy and experiencing that kind of, that kind of joy coming from you.
Thank you. I know you can feel it. You're a sponge.
So what? In getting to that point, what was the hardest moment professionally in your life, or personally, however you want to interpret it, but in terms of getting you to this point, what looking back, would you say the experience you thought it was isn't necessarily the one it is now that you've had this kind of success?
Man, success is so relative to
Exactly.
what we define it as, right? And yes, this level of success that I'm currently treading through is incredible to feel. But one of the hardest moments in my existence while I was creating and just living, which are typically happening simultaneously anyway,
Right.
was when I was homeless, when I was deeply addicted to opioids and all of the types of drugs that are ones that most people shouldn't really dibble-dabble into. I was very down, very negative, and had a very defeatist mentality. That defeatist mentality stemmed from a couple of negative predicaments I went through. I'd gotten jumped, I'd been robbed, I was hanging out with the wrong people. My general energy and life force, it was just attracting negativity for whatever reason. It's because, quite frankly, I wasn't in a positive space, and you kind of are what you attract in this world. And I learned that the hard way. I'm a traveler. Yeah. And one of the most profound moments in my life was when I started waking up with intention, as opposed to waking up feeling. I mean, I'm always confused as to why I'm here still.
well, you're doing a damn good job at confusion, I'll tell you. You're doing a fine job of it. We all should be so confused, my friend.
Thank you. I started waking up with intention and surrounding myself with people that uplifted me and believed in me. Started pushing away the people and letting go of people without leaving claw marks, per se, that were not offering anything positive to my life. I ended up working at a dispensary, which is in the realm that I love, which is marijuana. I got to save up enough money to buy studio equipment and a house for myself. And for me, that was a pivotal moment in my life, because I feel like a lot of us have times that we aren't really conscious of, where our lives could go here or here permanently in that direction, depending on how
absolutely,
and the moment, so when that moment kind of arose where I phoenixed out of this predicament, I truly had real life examples of, hey, I can get out of a bad predicament and I can define and create my life on my terms. Like, I can do this. I believe in myself. And that was the beginning of me transcending into the person that I'm still hoping that I want to become one day.
Well, I think you, if I can make a prediction based on what you've just said, it's the fact that you're looking back and knowing where you've come from to know where you are at, to know where you're going. And I know that sounds a little cliche, but it's absolutely, not at all. But it's absolutely true. I literally just wrote to somebody, I feel like I am on the edge of a cliff, ready to soar. Do you feel that way?
Yes, 100%. Some days I feel like I'm already soaring.
Yes, exactly.
Feet aren't on the ground. Just kind of.
There was a period of time I was hyperventilating because I was so ready for what was happening, and it was happening, and it's so
incredible.
Are you by any chance seeing a repetition of numbers like 333, 555, 1111?
Okay, so first and foremost, I was born on November 11th, 1991, 11th day, 11th month, and 1991 has an 11 in it.
Yes, Mr. Scorpio.
Yeah,
I got
that.
I am too.
Yeah, I know. I remember we're the Scorpio brothers. I'm not playing with you when I say this. I talk to my mom and dad and my girl about it all the time. I am followed by 333 and 444. Like,
so am I.
So
am I.
I can't escape.
Every time, honestly, we have a mutual friend, and he's a 444.
Mm-hmm.
But 333 and 444, scary.
And it's to a point where it's just like, are you serious? Like, this is the time of day I randomly chose to look at the time, and this is it. Every day. It's mind-boggling. But I get up at 4:44 almost every morning. And I have a clock that projects onto the ceiling, so all I have to do is sort of look. Yeah.
And it shakes me for that second. I'm going, and then I take a deep breath and go, thank you. Those are my thank you moments.
100%.
Those are the.
I don't know what it is. I feel connected to something celestial and something greater and more powerful whenever those moments go down. I mean, I do think the universe is very beautiful in that it leaves us breadcrumbs for us. Like,
I love that image. That's a beautiful image.
It's breadcrumbs like 444, 333, or any type of synchronicity that happens on a consistent basis. I think they're breadcrumbs. I'm not sure to what, but I appreciate them. They're big moments of gratitude, like abundant gratitude. Feel very present when I see those numbers. So I'm very happy that you can relate to that, because I'm fucking crazy sometimes.
Well, you know, I'm not at all surprised that you answered those questions in the affirmative, because I think people who are attuned to themselves in a way that is hypersensitive, not hypersensitive, but I think we attract, our energies attract. You made some earlier comment about my energy, and I'm very aware of my energy, for myself and and how it affects others in some ways.
Yeah, of course.
And I, you know, my basic way of explaining it is happy people make people happy.
Yeah.
You know, and happy people, and happy people recognize happiness in others, genuine happiness.
Exactly.
And it's an unspoken thing. It's an energy thing. And I bet you if you did a survey, they would be 333s and 444s as well, and some other combinations, you know?
Yeah.
So what were the people, what were the things that helped you come from your homelessness and the kind of, I describe it as being on a wheel going nowhere fast, you know, in terms of how to get off that wheel. You know, Stop the World, I Want to Get Off was a very famous play. And so how did you stop your world to get off long enough to get back on to do what you're doing now? And who were the people that helped you do that?
Man, I have to say, Livy, it's kind of a like Inception in a sense, but it's like intentionally living with intention. There are so many days where I just kind of ponder what way I can affect this world positively and how I can make it. I realize one thing I know about myself is I love making people feel good, and I like making people feel comfortable, and I like empowering. It just feels like that's what I'm here to do. So I'm going to do it as much as I can. And having these notions really helped me live with intention. So that switching my perspective was very helpful, because perspective is everything. A lot of people can, like 1,000 people can look at a room, and everyone will have a different opinion about it based on their perspective. Some of them don't like green, some of them love painting, it's all perspective. So that was very helpful. And the people who I hold near and dear to my heart, who are still my friends and my confidants to this day, my manager, Brendan, who has been there for me through thick and thin, he and I are very opposite in the way we are as human beings, but we coincide and work almost autonomously, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful connection, and I thank the stars for it every day. My brother, Khalik, who housed me when I was coming back from being homeless, who was one of the first people who was there when I recorded my first song 12 years ago, when I was nervous. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. He's like, you can do anything. He was there. My brother, Terrell Morris, who has always been someone who believed in me as a creator and as a human being. And my brother, Fabian Rec, who changed my life in so many ways. And you know what's crazy? I got to say, Ali, who I'm currently with, the most beautiful woman in the world, she was around during the Phoenix out of being homeless and addicted to substances. She was someone who kind of helped me get back on my feet in more ways than one. So those are the people who were there, and you accompany that with the right perspective, and it's boom, here I am.
And do you feel that you hold a secret in some way that others want to know about?
No. I mean, no, I don't think so. Like, depending on what the perspective is, I mean, it's no secret that treating yourself, surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, and trying to constantly seek knowledge, it's no secret that will lead you to a place of positivity. to me. So I'm not sure if I hold a secret. I mean, sometimes, like, you know that song, I got a pocket full of sunshine? Like, I have that, like, feeling where there's this little, like, pocket of energy that only I have, you know?
Yes.
I've
been very blessed to experience that. It's, yes, it's magical. It really
it
is.
is.
It is because you hit the nail on the head in so many ways when you said your inner child. That child is always there, and that's, I think, what feeds my creativity the most. Because as a child, I was so in awe of my world and made very detailed mental notes, obviously because of my recollection ability, but very detailed. And people say how detailed my notes of my memories are. And also, it's that sense of what you say is living with intention. That intentionality is such an integral part
It is.
to moving forward. Because if you really analyze what's going on anatomically between the brain and the ability to move one leg after another, which we call walking, all you have to do is take that away from you, and so you have to work to get that back.
Exactly.
And you know, it's tough. It's very tough. And it was never meant to be. And if it were easy, more people would be doing it.
Yeah.
And so if you take all this wonderful, wonderful wisdom, what advice would you give your 13-year-old self, knowing what you know now? Because
when I was 13, I was in grade 9. I think I was the guy in school who had painted nails, and I remember I was in Danforth Tech, I'm pretty sure. And I remember I was getting bullied by a few people at that time, and I really let it get to me. I thought that I was inferior. I thought that, like, I mattered less because I was different, and I would tell myself that that's bullshit because I growing up now and realizing that a lot of people have repressed trauma, a lot of people who bully people in school and outside of the school atmosphere are typically it's not even a personal thing. They're just going through so much shit. They only know how to act a certain way. So I would tell myself to not take that too seriously. And I would say, keep being you unapologetically. Because I think one thing that I know from a lot of my teachers who didn't understand the way that my brain worked or the way that I worked as a person, I would always feel inferior because, like, when I was born, for example, like, I had orthopedic shoes. I wasn't supposed to be athletic. I was diagnosed with ADHD. They tried to medicate me when I was 3. I was dyslexic. I wasn't supposed to be able to read and write. So there were all of these things that were predetermined by people who had no idea who I was before I was even of age to speak properly. So I would tell my 13-year-old self to stay true to you because you're on the right path, and stay away from the opiates. I can see you.
What was your no turning back moment? What was in your mind, what was your no turning back moment as far as putting yourself out there and your vulnerabilities in your music?
My no turning back moment was when I dropped my mixtape entitled Acid Rain. Before that mixtape, most of my music, sonically and content-wise, was very, very drug-fueled. Almost to the point where it was almost all I spoke about because it was all I did. It's like, typically what you do is what you talk about.
Yes, right.
Just to touch on what we were talking about earlier, I was living a lot more intentionally. It's like when someone plays this song, how do you want them to feel? Like, do they want to feel empowered? Do they want to feel strong? Do they want to feel confident? Do they want to feel like they're relating to you on a sad topic? I started really breaking down, like, what I wanted to share as an artist, as opposed to just getting in the studio and freely going off and just getting stuff off my chest, which I still do to this day. When I get into the studio, I create freely, and then sometimes I will create with more intention. But when I made Acid Rain, the feedback to that album was incredible. It's the first time in my life where people I got messages from people in prison. Like, you gave me hope. You made me want to keep going. I got messages from people whose friends had passed away recently. I have a song called Hercules where I talk. It was just a point where I'm like, hey, this is my calling as a musician, like as an artist and as a person, uplifting and empowering intentionally. And it was a huge no turning back moment for me, sonically and as a person in life. I just
it's kind of hard to unknow when you are given the privilege and blessed with knowledge of what you know and how to go forward and being living intentionally, as you say.
Yeah.
I always describe it, for me, I break it down between the brain and the heart. When the brain knows what the heart feels, that's that dialogue. And I always say that my brain is keeping my heart from feeling too much, and my heart is keeping my brain from thinking too much, so that I get a balanced.
I have a bit of a balance. I'm always trying to put on an equilibrium, which is, if it's meant to be, it will be. And then, like, if you want it, go and get it. I'm always like tossing those scales, trying to figure out which one I'm leaning toward. And I'm quite frankly, I'm fine with playing that game for the rest of my life. I'm fine. I'm fine with straddling that line.
You alluded to it earlier about, that as you were progressing and living your life more intentionally, and I'm going to describe it as your reinvention process.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
That you were having to say goodbye to people like the previous people that you were associating with. Though did you find you were losing a lot of friends?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was.
How did that affect?
One thing I learned, which it was a very big surprise, when I started getting a bit of notoriety as a musician, when I started getting healthier, I started taking care of my body, I was receiving negative comments from people who used to be in my circle. And I was like, I'm doing well. I'm trying to achieve something. I'm chasing my dreams, and I'm becoming healthy. How are you not endorsing that and being proud of that? And then I realized that these people weren't really in this relationship with me because they cared about me and my progression. They were participatory friends for whatever image being a friend with me was, or how much fun we would do whenever we would dabble into certain substances.
Right.
And I noticed, man, JP, I noticed so many people just not around once I kind of got out of my funk, once I kind of got out of my addictive habits. And not that I needed a pat on the back, but it was blatant to see who actually cared about me, Dylan, the human being, and who else was there just to participate in the act of looking like one's friend, but really having unsettled internal issues. So
the power of truth and honesty with yourself is a very powerful drug in and of itself that others can't handle. That can't handle it. I mean, I would hate for anybody listening on this conversation to think we're part of some elite club. But the truth of the matter is, I'm beginning to think that that to look at your life and acknowledge the past. Forgiveness. Lily Tomlin, the great comedian, said, "Forgiveness is the giving up of all hope for a better past." And if you can just accept who you are as yourself, it's just the giving up of all hope for a better past, that you have your past and it is what has made you who you are today.
Precisely.
And so you either like yourself or you don't like yourself. And my litmus test, if you will, is if I need to like myself when I'm with someone, because if I don't like myself when I'm with them for whatever reason, it's a pretty good indicator to me that I should not be there. And
Precisely. And to touch on what you just said, in case anyone's just dropping in on this without any context, it is very good, as we were talking about, to live intentionally. And for the people who I no longer speak to, I genuinely believe and I genuinely wish and hope and pray that they're becoming their best selves on their own path. I wish no malice, I have no ego involved in that. But I do know for sure that, and I say selfishly with a positive connotation, but sometimes you have to be protective and selfish with your energy. You have to. Selfish has a bad connotation, but if I can't even put myself in the place to be the best version of me, then I'm doing you a disservice. So I have to be selfish with it sometimes.
You have to be the center of your own universe. You have to be the center of your own universe.
Universe, you know?
Universe. You know, the whole universe. And I think the synchronicity that we are experiencing in numbers and whatever else in terms of the magic of our lives that we choose to live is all about that kind of energy that's being created in what you're creating and what I'm creating. I say that style is reaching inwardly to express outwardly, and so what I try and offer people is an opportunity to transform themselves by choosing to dress with intention. By dressing with intention, your intentionality about what you want to communicate through what you're wearing is exactly what's speaking to people before you even open your mouth. And it's that whole...
It's transformative, exactly.
Yeah, it's transformative. And so the way you've expressed how you've come out of your funk, and I love that word. It's a great word, isn't it? Because it even sounds like it sounds like what people go through when they're in a funk, right?
Yeah.
It's not quite a fuck, and it's not quite a it's
a funk.
It's just so what this is an open-ended question, but what's different about the way you see the world now?
I think from a child, from a very young age, I was never really concerned with whether the glass was half full or half empty. I was really into having a glass. Whatever I do with that glass is up to me. And I feel like I have solidified that perspective throughout this existence. I mean, perspective is so powerful. We are emotional beings. So when we see things, we are very emotional about them. But offering perspective to predicaments can really change how you look at them, which in turn will change you internally. So I naturally look at this space that we're living in and this moment that we're having as a blessing. Every single thing that I am partaking in, even the things that I'm not fully sure why they're happening, negative, negative thing, I intentionally start looking for the blessings because, dude, this is all just the biggest psychedelic trip of life is life itself. Like, it is incredibly crazy.
Why? Because we are
alive.
Alive, exactly. And so now you alluded to it before, but in my investigation, I did find out you were born on November the 11th.
Yeah.
And as one who was always in charge of the Remembrance Day program on November 11th, did that ever tarnish your birthday?
Yeah, I'll be 100 with you because you're my guy. I was very conscious of the fact that there was a tragedy and we had to mourn these beautiful people on this day. But what I looked at it is, it's like every day there's something negative happening, but today is still my day. I put some perspective around it.
So now we're going to speak about your day. And we'll just identify you as a Scorpio. I'm getting my reading glasses on. So this is sort of like a word association. I'm going to describe. I have a book here. It's a book about zodiac signs, and I found it uncanny. And admittedly, I am a Scorpio as well. And so Scorpios are intense.
Wow.
Yes or no?
Yes. Also, sorry, 1 second. My uncle Jamie is in here. He's a beautiful human being. He just said my paternal great-grandfather was 9/11, another 11.
Oh, wow.
Love it. But yes.
Wow.
So continue though. So Scorpios are intense. I
Okay.
mean, shit, I know that I am intense. Yes.
Okay. So yes or no. So like a lens focusing sunshine, your impact can sometimes be too concentrated. True or false?
Oh man, that is so well put and way too accurate. I feel that one in my bones.
And painful.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. You're a sexy beast.
Well, dude, come on, man. Like, yeah.
I don't write the script. I didn't write it.
Dude, no. I'm saying, come on, man. Like, duh.
Duh. I know. With a dark sense of humor.
Oh yeah, for sure. You gotta find humor in the dark shit, or else it's just fucking dark.
You're a passionate,
That's almost an understatement.
sensuous guy
Yeah.
who enjoys exploring his
I love.
full sexual potential.
Oh yeah, dude.
Duh.
Sexual energy is everything, man. Yeah.
You arouse intrigue
Yeah.
and debate.
I only debate when I'm passionate, but yes.
And you revel in the part of the man of mystery.
Where were we just talking about that? Yeah.
Hey, you're a Scorpio. I recognize you. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Dylan, this has been so wonderful.
Thank you.
You know, I knew I had some kind of a connection with you from the moment I met you.
Likewise.
And it was, and that kind of and the fact that we have a good mutual friend as well, and that speaks volumes. You know, that's that kind of energy I was talking about attracting.
Universal breadcrumbs, synchronicity.
Exactly. Yes. I'd like to think of myself more as a crouton. Is that all right?
You are for sure.
I'm a crouton in the breadcrumbs of life. How's that?
I'll give you that.
Oh, hey, there's a song in there. And listen, I actually wrote something as an inspiration from the song that you wrote recently for Ali.
Wow.
And I just said, chivalry is not dead when you have someone writing a song for you.
Oh God, you'd make her blush right now if she's
You know, like that. I thought, oh my God. I listened to it and I thought, wow, this is what it's about. This is what our message is to the world. Get in touch with who you are and allow yourself the luxury of loving yourself.
Yes.
And no one said it's going to be easy. It's not easy in the least.
No.
But it is a fucking lot of fun.
Oh my God, it is, man.
And it's a very humbling experience for me and you know what's even more humbling is that I get to go on this journey with people like you. You know, I go, you know, we sort of gets muddled with yours and yours and mine in some in phantasmagorical way.
Yeah.
But I don't feel it just is. There's no working at it. It just is.
It's just flowing, and we're just kind of partaking in this grandiose journey, you know, this crazy journey. And I'm very, very blessed to be alive and here at the same time with you. Appreciate it a lot. And thank you like a million for having me just a part of this. We should do this again.
We will definitely do it again. I wish you every success on every level, and you are such a great spirit to have.
Thank you.
On the voyage, you know, you really are.
I love you, JP. I appreciate you deeply. That means a lot to me coming from you, for real. And we got to get together with our mutual and have a little powwow.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Dillanponders. Namaste.